perfect. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know the situations on the other side. Like, a lot of things are like juggling and going through. So, yeah, I'm just going to keep it open. You can just, yeah, whichever way you want to go, Gayatri ji. You don't need to literally follow this also. It's not in the system order.
Yes, Prabhu. I have learned from the Bhagavad Gita book whatever I have.
Okay.
That's all I know, Prabhu. So I will.
Perfect. Perfect, Mataji. Just taking part in this is more than anything.
Yes. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Gurur Sri Yutapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Gayatri ji. That was wonderful. How sincerely and how nicely you recited. That's really good. Thank you so much for that. Hare Krishna, Anil Prabhu. Thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Really appreciate that, Anil Prabhu. In between, all of us are juggling multiple things and still finding time for our Thursday one, which is really amazing, actually, that all of us here are able to, make it for this.
Just trying my best at the moment, Shyam Prabhuji, as best as I can.
Yeah, definitely. That's the reason why I never take it lightly that, joining on the weekdays is not so easy. We have so many pulls, things pulling on the other side.
Especially with young children.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, isn't it? Like when we give priority to Krishna, that's a way in which we can show our love for Krishna, right? So, and that's why they say, like, the most important, if you had to sum up the whole Krishna consciousness in one word, samsiddhim haritoshanam, doing everything for the pleasure of Krishna, to satisfy Krishna, because Krishna is called as Rishikesha. And if Rishikesha is satisfied, then automatically our senses will be satisfied. And this is the best way when Krishna is satisfied with our service, a little bit. Neha vikramanasosti pratyavayona vidyate swalpam abhyasya dharmasya trayate mat. Even if you do a little bit of service for Krishna, he becomes very pleased. So just taking time off away from, even though we have multiple things to juggling, just taking the little bit of time for Krishna is something which Krishna really loves. And I was just reflecting, how Krishna in Bhagavad Gita gives you very critical messages and beautiful messages. In one place, he says, Jatasya hi dhruvam mrutyam dhruvam janmamritasya cha tasmad apariharyarte natvam sochitam arhasi. He tells Arjuna, one who takes birth is sure to die. And after dying, one is sure to take birth. So in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you shouldn't lament, because after this birth, there's going to be death, and after that, there's going to be birth again, So we are all kind of like, so Krishna is saying, like, as much as death is certain, again, being born is again certain as well. But this is something which is circle of life, which we are all going from millions of years. We are going through this cycle of life, being born, grow old, again, disease, old age, diseases, die. And again, we are born, again, we grow like that. But again, the exception, how to come out of this cycle also, Krishna says, this is something which happens for everyone. But at the same time, Krishna also gives us one hint over here, one beautiful sloka where he says, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatutaha chakradeham punarjanma naitima meti. So Arjuna, so even though every jivatma has to take the body, and again after dying, the jivatma again takes another new body. But one who listens to Harikatha, Krishna Bhagavan says, one who listens to Krishna's Leelas, Krishna's divine pastimes, those devotees, they will not again take birth in the womb of another mother. They will not again go through this cycle of birth and old age, disease, and Janma Mrityu, Jara Vyadhi. These four things will not happen for those kind of people. And they will be able to come out of this cycle of life and death, and they will be able to come back to the supreme planet of Krishna and be in the association of Krishna, and we will just be, it's like going back home. Like all of us, many of us, we don't belong to these countries, right? We could just come on an on-site assignment. We are here for some time. We may be for a decades also, but somewhere we know that we are actually, our home place is India. That's where our heart is. That's where we know that's where we come from, like it's a common, I'm sure all of you I can relate to this, that whenever we go back to India, the kind of a joy that happens when the flight is just landing in India, like it's a beautiful feeling, like, coming back home kind of thing. So similarly, Krishna is telling us this very concept of back to Godhead, that Prabhupada started this magazine also, Back to Godhead. Is like, we're just taking a flight back to our home from where we belong to, so Krishna has given us the most easiest process through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came to give us this message, that because Krishna knows this Kali Yuga is a world of difficulty, it's a world of hypocrisy, world of quarrel, very difficult to overcome the challenges and the dualities of, even when Lord Ram came, I was just reflecting about it. Even when Lord Ram came, you see the nature of the material world. One day he knows that he was supposed to be the king the very next day. So one day there is a good news, and the very next, a day before being crowned as a king, he gets to know that he cannot be the king. And not only that, Lord Ram has to be sent to the forest for 14 years. So I was just thinking about it. Even when the Lord came, he went through all these struggles, and all to give us an idea that this in Kali Yuga, in this world, this is a world of duality, that there is going to be ups and downs. One day there's going to be a good news, one day there's going to be a bad news. Just like how Lord Ram was supposed to be a king one day, and the next day he gets to know that he cannot be the king. And he had to just go and leave the whole kingdom and go in the forest. So Ramayana is one way which is telling us about life, the dualities of life, and how life can go through ups and downs, and that how we have to face it. But in the material world, normally whenever we have a problem, immediately we start looking at our parents and saying, can you please do some, Navagraha Puja? And then we do all kind of rituals just to overcome this, because we cannot we don't want to go through this grind of all these challenges that we come in. But Lord Ram has shown us that when he came as a human being, that as long as you come into a human being in this material world, you have to face this world of dualities. That's the reason why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Matra sparsastu kaunteya shitosna sukha dukkada agama payino nitya stam titiksa swabharata, where Krishna tells Arjuna, this non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and the disappearance in due course of time are just like the appearance and disappearance of summer and winter season. And one must learn to tolerate that without being disturbed, Arjuna. And this is what Lord has done, right? This happiness and distress, on one day there was happiness and the next day there was distress. But Lord Ram accepted it. He accepted it, and immediately he told Dasharath, even though Dasharath didn't want Lord Ram to go into the forest, Lord Ram said, you taken a decision, you had to stick to that. And he didn't want Dasharath to change his decision. He didn't want anyone to change the decision, even though everybody were crying and didn't want Ram to go into the forest. But Ram accepted the situation, and then he just left to the forest. So in this material, especially, Ramayana is so relevant. And next Sunday, we are going to have, not this Sunday, but the coming Sunday, the 6th of April is going to be Ram Navami. And I was just reflecting about it, thinking like, even when the Lord came, he faced so many challenges and difficulties to just tell us that this is the nature of the material world, just to give us an idea that even he went through all the tribulations, he went through all the challenges in life. And of course, towards the end, someone who has so patiently gone through the grind, towards the end, of course, he had to, he went back to Ayodhya and ruled over there. But it's such a beautiful, lesson for all of us, and to find strength during difficult times. But because sometimes when we have problems, we think that we have the problems. We kind of like have that self-sympathy kind of thing. Like, "Oh, why am I going through all these things? Why am I being targeted for this kind of thing?" And it's quite common that we go through all these kind of feelings. But I think going through Ramayana, going through the ordeals, just imagine Arjuna's situation. Just one day before, he's there on the battlefield, and he's in a situation that he has to go and kill his own grandfather and his own teacher. Who can be in a worse situation than Arjuna? Who can be in such a delicate situation as Lord Ram, that the very next day that he gets to know that he's not going to be coronated as the king? So Mahabharata and Ramayana give us so much of words of wisdom, give us strength that we have to face through these life challenges of life, and keeping in mind that Krishna is always there with us, and make everything as an offering for Krishna. And that's the only way we can live happily in this world. Do everything for the pleasure of Krishna and try to please Krishna. And that's the only way we can just go with these tribulations. So just wanted to just share a bit of reflection, given that Ram Navami is coming. And it's good that we just think about the beautiful stories of Lord Ram, because the whole essence of Ramayana is full of love, and love in the mode of separation, more love in the mode of sacrifices. That he loved his parents so much, he was ready to sacrifice for the sake of dharma. How much Sita Devi had to sacrifice because she was born, even though she was so royally brought up. And how Bharat, he just ruled this kingdom with just keeping the pardikas of Lord Ram. What about the love of there? What about Lakshmana's love? What about the love of Hanuman for Lord Ram? So many beautiful things. It's an essence of the topmost love in the mood of separation. And that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also shown. Like, he was always crying for Krishna in the mode of separation. Having said that, I'm going to just do the quick, Kirtan, and then we'll dive into the Krishna book. Hare Krishna, Paritosh Prabhu, thank you for joining us.
Hare Krishna, Salam, Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Slightly late.
No problem at all. We're just getting started. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Girvardhari, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
So beautiful, Kirtan Prabhuji. Ecstatic. Very nice.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, I feel so grateful to my guru, my teacher, harmonium teacher. He's like, he always makes me sing this on Sundays along with him in the manner. So this is our regular one of our songs that we sing on Sundays. I really enjoy that, and I feel these days, when the online Aarti comes up, I just sit at home and just play this one and some other tunes as well. So yeah, this is again another lesson that I have learned earlier when I refused to learn harmonium at one time, but because the Prabhuji was so insisting, I had said, okay, I said like, okay, I will learn. But today it's become my best companion at home. So whenever this online Aarti is happening, I'm just simply sitting and just playing Hare Krishna tune. So very joyful to spend time with that. Thank you, Amar Prabhu. So we are going to be diving into the book. So we're going to continue with this chapter. We are not yet finished with this chapter number 60, talks between Krishna and Rukmini. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, He Krishna Karna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Saptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwar Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. Namo Vishnapadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachani Nirvishesha Srinivadi Pashabhavesh. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna. So we were just doing this beautiful nectar, the talks between Krishna and Rukmini, and we have seen like how Krishna was trying to provoke Rukmini by just telling her that it was a wrong decision to marry him, and how Krishna tried to downplay himself, that he's nothing, and that she's taken a wrong decision. And we've seen how much he was trying to downplay himself, and seen that. And then here we are also seeing like how Rukmini is coming back, and it's such a beautiful way for us to learn, especially in Kali Yuga, like the art of listening and art of just coming back on, how you can respond back without any provocation. Even though Krishna tried his best to kind of like provoke Rukmini in every way to just see how angry she was going to get. But Rukmini, even though she was a bit anxious in the beginning because she could not even think about separation from Krishna, and it was so wonderful. But again, she tried to rebut each and everything that Krishna has mentioned. She tried to revert back with a very, very pleasing one, talking about like, he was just telling like, you should have married some, rich people, like great, powerful people, maybe like, Jarasandha and Shishupal. And then so nicely, Rukmini was just mentioning about the actual kings for the census, the three modes of material nature, they are the actual kings and things like that, which is so amazing, actually, the kind of, and if you really think about it deeply, that's what it is, right? In the material world, everybody, like if you take anybody is in a very powerful position, they always think that they are the ones who are the controllers, right? We see in the war that's going on all over the world. We see the kind of wars that are going on right now between different countries, because there is always that kind of a thinking that I am the proprietor. This place belongs to me, and everybody is trying to kind of occupy other places or just trying to claim other places, and people are fighting in the name of religion. There's so many things that are happening, but we can see that the actual one who are actually ruling is these three modes of material nature. They're the ones who are actually controlling everyone. And we can see that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Prakriti kriya manani gunai karmani sharvashaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. We as spirit soul, we think that we are actually the doers of everything, but in actuality, everything is being carried out by the three modes of material nature. And it is very clear, like, whenever we see that famine happening, or whenever we see earthquakes happening, whenever there's war happening, it's all because of the reaction that is happening in this material world, because of so much of, killing that's happening in the terms of killing each other, killing animals. All these things are going to have a ripple effect. And the ripple effect is what we can see that today what's happening in the material. But a common man, they cannot understand why these wars are happening. They cannot fathom why all these things are happening. But a person who's in the transcendental mode of pure goodness, Krishna says that, the common man does not understand why the people are dying and what kind of a body you're getting in this under the modes of material nature. You cannot understand it. But a person who's engaging Krishna consciousness, he can understand everything, right? Because when you're reading Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains very clearly. And when you practice Krishna consciousness, when you elevate your consciousness into the highest mode of transcendental consciousness, then in that stage of pure goodness, Suddha Sattva Guna, then you will be able to understand some of these things, why they're happening in this material world. And Krishna consciousness is all about elevating our consciousness to the highest level. And which is what actually, if you can see the whole of the wars that are happening, only the people in the Krishna consciousness, they can have a good understanding about, like, why these things are happening and what is it that we can do in this material world. Even though padam vipadam, that means every step there is some kind of a danger. But in spite of all a kind of a material world like this, which is a world of dualities, we can still find, by stepping onto this boat of transcendental happiness, by stepping onto this Krishna consciousness boat, where we always find joy by speaking about Krishna, by discussing about Krishna. Krishna Bhagavan himself is telling that, Madchitta madgata pranam bodhayante parasparam katayantyasya mam nityam tusyanti cha ramanti cha. Krishna says, the thoughts of my devotees always dwell in me, and my devotees get great bliss and happiness by always enlightening each other with each other. So even though it's a world of dualities, where there is so much of hypocrisy and so much of anxiety is there, still we can find happiness by talking about Hari Katha with each other, by discussing about Krishna Katha with each other. And so here we are just talking about how Rukmini has just mentioned about it. And I just wanted to maybe just start over here, from here. Can I ask one of you to read this one, where Rukmini is still talking about, the last.
I'll do it.
You'll do it? Yeah, Parithashprabhu? Yeah, go.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Oh, okay. Let me just. Okay. My dear lotus-eyed husband, you are self-satisfied. You do not care whether or not I'm beautiful or qualified. You are not all concerned about it. Therefore, your non-attachment for me is not at all astonishing. It is quite natural. You cannot be attached to any woman, however exalted her position and beauty, whether you are attached to me or not. May my devotion and attention be always engaged at your lotus feet. The material mode of passion is also your creation. So when you passionately glance upon me, I accept it as the greatest boon of my life. I'm ambitious only for such auspicious moments.
Hare
After
Krishna.
he, you carry on?
Yeah, that's fine, Prabhu. Thank you. I just will cover this chapters just to get started off with the paragraph. So this is actually Rukmini kind of like reverting back to Krishna. She's been answering each and every point that Krishna has mentioned. Whether it is talking about Krishna was talking about the different, the kings are better placed than him to marry her, and that he should leave her, and then that also he mentioned like he doesn't have any love for any of these things, whether it's for those queens and things like that. So Krishna in many ways trying to discourage her and just to see what's her reaction to all of these things. And here we can see that Rukmini kind of like mentioning to Krishna, that you are self-satisfied. And as we know, one of the names of Krishna is called as Atma Rama. Atma Rama means he's self-satisfied and he doesn't care. He doesn't depend on somebody else. He's not depending on others for the happiness, and he doesn't care whether Rukmini, whether Rukmini is, that's what she's saying, like, that you do not care whether I'm beautiful or qualified, you're not concerned about it. Because in this material world also, if you see, right, you always find banking our happiness on other people. You find like, okay, if I spend time with this person, then I make it very happy. Then I'm very happy. I remember like, one of my colleagues, when I went to their house and she was like telling me like, this is my partner, and I'm always very happy. He always keeps me happy. That's what I like about him. He always keeps me happy. And I was just thinking like, she was like depending so much on happiness on the other person. But sometimes we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and sometimes depending so much on the other person for your own happiness. And later after some, because it's a world of duality, because the times are not the same. And it so happened after some time, now they're like literally split up and they don't even see each other's face. They hate each other, kind of a thing. So in this material world, you always have this situation where, you're looking for satisfaction by engaging your senses in some other thing, either in some sense enjoyment, or you are banking your happiness by depending on somebody or something like that. But you can see that Krishna also, he mentions also in Bhagavad Gita, like even though he's got nothing to do, he's totally neutral and he's doing his prescribed duty because he wants to set an example that when we are in this material world, you have to do your prescribed duty. Krishna himself is doing his prescribed duty when he was there on this material world, and he tells Arjuna also to do your prescribed duty where you are there as a Kshatriya dharma, So it is so important, like where Krishna is come to give us this message that as long as you are in this material world, you have to do your prescribed duty. But at the same time, instead of what Prabhupada given us this knowledge is that instead of engaging in your own sense enjoyment, instead of banking on somebody else for your happiness, you dovetail all your effort and all your service in serving Krishna. That way you will find real happiness, not the happiness because in the material world, no matter how much we bank on other people for their happiness, there is going to be some kind of a disappointment. There is going to be a situation where, either things may not happen your way. I remember like sometimes one of the devotee, they came to me and said like, Shyam, we were best friends for 6 years, and suddenly now the person doesn't even talk to me, and we are broken up and we are no more friends and things like that. And he was like so heartbroken, and he was telling me like, how much it has pained her and all that. So this is the nature of the material world. We think that we are the best friends, and one fine day we realize that it's not no more the same. So, but here we can see from Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He's self-satisfied, Atma Rama. But at the same time, throughout Harikatha, we see that Krishna is only reciprocating to the feelings of others, whether it's the 16,000 queens who had just come and requested Krishna to marry, whether it is Rukmini who sent a love letter to Krishna to marry her. If you take everything, everywhere, it's always they coming to Krishna and saying like, we would like to get married to you, can't think about anyone else. So Krishna is always reciprocating to the love of his devotees. So here Rukmini is saying your non-attachment to me is not at all astrologing, because Krishna is self-satisfied. It's quite natural. And also when Krishna comes into this material world, his own Hiladini, he doesn't depend on anyone in this material world. His own Hiladini Shakti is manifested in the form of Radharani, right? Radha Krishna eki atma duhi dehadari anyone vilase ashwadana kari. Radha and Krishna, eki atma, but they appear in two separate transcendental bodies in transcendental loving relationship with each other. So Krishna is depending on his own Haladini Shakti for his own pleasure when he comes into this material world. He doesn't depend on anyone else in this material world. So here he's saying you cannot, so Rukmini here, you can understand from here, because a lot of people, people who are not devotees of Krishna, they misunderstand Krishna. They say, oh, how can Krishna marry 16,000 women? But they don't understand that actually the position of Krishna is Atmarama. He's just reciprocating to the love of his devotees. He's not interested at all. He doesn't make any difference to Krishna, because he's depending on his own Hiladini Shakti for his happiness. He doesn't depend on anything in this material world for the happiness. So Krishna, so she's saying, whether you're attached to me or not, my devotion and my attention to always be engaged to lotus feet. So this is what we can learn from Harikatha, right? Because what we can learn from Harikatha is pure love. Tesham Jnani Nitya Yukta Eka Bhaktir Vishishyate Priyohi Jnanino Chartam Ahamsa Chamama Priya. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita that 4 kind of pious people come to me. One person who is interested in material desires, one person who's interested in, all kind of Lakshmi, one person is interested in getting over, he's got some material problems and needs solution or support from Krishna. One person is saying wants more and more Lakshmi. The third person is quite inquisitive. And the fourth person, kind of a pious person, is someone who's really engaged in only loving Krishna. All that the person wants is to love Krishna. And Krishna tells there are 4 kind of pious people who come to me, Arjuna. But out of these 4 people, the people who are in distress, people who want Lakshmi, people who are inquisitive, and the people who truly come only for the love of Krishna, because they want to see Krishna, they want to serve Krishna. Krishna says, out of all of these people, the one who comes out of pure love for me, Arjuna, that person is going to be very, very, I'm very dear to that person, and that person is very, very dear to me. So we can understand that what Krishna is really looking for through Bhagavad Gita, through the Harikatha, is that he wants devotees who have pure love for him. And when we have pure love for Krishna, then automatically you can understand that when when a son has a pure love for father will automatically take care of him, right? He will take more care of him because his son is so much loving and depending on his father. Because a devotee is always depending on Krishna. He's like, whatever mercy that you can show, whatever position that you have, even if there's some difficulty, we say, Krishna, maybe I'm supposed to suffer even more, but you have reduced my suffering. This is the mood of the devotee. So here we can see that Rukmini is showing her selfless love for Krishna, that even though whether you're not attached to me or not attached to me, my devotion should be always engaged at your lotus feet. So we can learn from what do we get by Harikatha is because we will learn the pure love. And he's saying the material mode of passion is always your creation, because Krishna is created all these 3 modes, right? Daiviyesha Gunamaya Mama Maya Durutya. Krishna says this divine energy of mine is very difficult to overcome. But Krishna is above these 3 gunas. He's not we are under these 3 gunas. Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. But Krishna is above these 3 gunas. But he only created all these things. That's what Rukmini is saying. You only created these 3 gunas. And when you passionately glance upon me, I accept it as the greatest boon of my life. So this should be our mood. Like we are always serving Krishna and we are just waiting for Krishna, that whenever Krishna wants to, he can give upon a grace. Not that we can't demand Krishna to show grace on us. We can only do our service and wait for the grace of Krishna. Just like when we go to an airport, we can't expect that the flight is going to come whenever we go there. But we have to just make sure we're going at the right time. Just wait for it and it will come when it's meant to come. So like that, we should always do our service to Krishna and wait for his grace whenever you can accept it. And I'm ambitious. So Rukmini here, she's saying she's waiting for that glance of Krishna on her, and which is going to be her accent, which she wants to accept as the greatest boon. And I'm ambitious only for such auspicious moment. So this is what we can learn from the pure, from Harikatha, like what is the kind of essence of true love? Many people, they do not know, how do we love God? What are the examples that you can? Because when we have some real examples, then we can relate to ourselves and we can walk in that footstep. Like, the gopis. The gopis had so much of love. We can't be like the gopis, but we can go into the footsteps. We can just follow the love. We can learn from them. We can just try to do so like that. Can I ask someone else if he can read the next paragraph, just to give a chance for everyone? Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone would like to read?
Shyam Prabhu, shall I read it?
Yeah, Anil Prabhu, please go ahead.
Okay. Okay, sorry, 1 second. Can you just scroll, bring it down a little bit?
Yeah.
A little bit more.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. After hearing Rukmini's statement and her clarification of each and every word he had used to arouse her anger of love toward him, Krishna addressed Rukmini as follows. My dear chaste wife, my dear princess, I expected such an explanation from you, and only for this purpose did I speak all those joking words, so that you might be cheated of the real point of view. Now my purpose has been served. The wonderful explanation you have given of my every word is completely factual and approved by me. O most beautiful Rukmini, you are my dearmost wife. I am greatly pleased to understand how much love you have for me. Please take it for granted that no matter what ambition and desire you might have, no matter what you might expect from me, I am always at your service. And it is a fact also that my devotees, my dearmost friends and servitors, are always free from material contamination, even though they are not inclined to ask me for such liberation. My devotees never desire anything from me except to be engaged in my service, and yet because they are completely dependent upon me, even if they are found to ask something from me that is not material, such as ambitions and desires, instead of becoming the cause of material bondage, become the source of liberation from this material world.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so one of the things, they're kind of a different kind of a devotees in this material world. There are some devotees who believe in Brahman, and they just, and again, the goal is very important, right? And the goal also depends on the association, and the goal depends on what our objective is. Sometimes I used to come across friends outside ISKCON, like they just talk about Brahman, and they just talk about merging into Brahman, and they talk about mukti, getting liberation and things like that. So they're in a different mood that, that to come out of this life cycle, life and death, and just come out of this life cycle, get mukti and merge into the Brahman. So that is the kind of a mood that they talk about. But here in Krishna consciousness is much, much more than that. We are not talking about Brahman. We are talking about the source of this Brahman, which is Sri Krishna Bhagavan. Knowing at the personal level, not about Brahman, but understanding the source of Brahman. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Brahmano hi pratistaham amritasya vyayasya cha sashvatasya hi dharmasya sukasya ikantikasya cha. Arjuna, I am the basis of the supreme Brahman, the Brahman that we're talking about. I am the basis. This Brahma effulgence is coming out of Krishna. And so we are trying to understand about the beautiful divine pastimes of Krishna and on a personal level. And we are not talking about the Supreme Brahman, but the source of the Brahman is Sri Krishna Bhagavan. And you can see that how Krishna is so nicely responding back. The whole conversation, if you can see how Krishna started in the beginning, trying to provoke Rukmini, giving all kind of things to discourage her, to see her reaction. And here we can see that after Rukmini so nicely, she, without even kind of like causing any anxiety to Krishna, or not even kind of, agitating Krishna in any way, but giving such nice replies that, whatever Krishna is trying to tell, just accepting that and just putting that in her own understanding. So this is very important, that whenever a situation comes up like this, it all depends on how we assimilate that and how we respond back, right? It all depends on what do we think about that. Because here Rukmini is kind of like not agitated. She's not, even though Krishna was trying to provoke and see like what's her reaction, but she was no way provoked from that point of view. Neither way will she react, because this is very important. Because in today's material world, when somebody says something, immediately we start reacting and we throw some words which we cannot take back, and that causes even more and more gap between the two people, and it creates more and more disturbances, and war of words keep happening and all that. But you can see, like, sometimes you can always answer back in such a way that the other person is getting the point, but at the same time, it's not hurting the other person, you know. There's always a different way we can respond back. We don't need to always get into an argument. We can always put it in such a way that the other person gets the point, but at the same time, we are not hurting the person. But you can see how Krishna once again responded back to Rukmini, that he was expecting such an explanation because he knew about Rukmini. But Rukmini was someone who was very dedicated to Krishna. She was very loyal to Krishna. She loved Krishna with all her heart. And she was someone who was always very dear to Krishna. And so he knew that this was the kind of an answer that Rukmini would give, you know, that how nicely she replied back, you know, that. But again, so whatever explanation that Rukmini has given, like, you know, with all the few paragraphs that we covered last week, and Krishna is accepting that this is what, okay, this explanation that you're given is absolutely right. That which means, and it's fact and it's approved by me. That means whatever Rukmini has explained in the previous ones, that the Shishupal and they are not the kings, the three modes of, you know, the three modes of energy, they are the real king. So all these things Krishna is approving that this is a right understanding. He's approving that Rukmini has the right understanding about Krishna, and he's very pleased to understand how much love that Rukmini has for Krishna. Many times, because even if you look at us, right, sometimes we get very disappointed when things don't happen our way, or when we're praying to Krishna and Krishna doesn't give what we want. Maybe Krishna has a different plan. Maybe Krishna has a come up because he knows the bigger picture. He knows why we are going through a certain situation. He understands our previous life. He understands everything, and he's trying to do his own this thing. But in the meanwhile, we shouldn't be hasty and come to conclusions, because this particular pastime is giving us the knowledge that we should also be like that. We should always never misunderstand Krishna, giving any provoking situations that we have, but think about Krishna, that maybe Krishna has a better plan for me, you know, because many times we may get disappointed when things don't happen our way, and think like, why Krishna is not helping me, why Krishna is not doing that. There's every chance that we may misunderstand, or we may try to even get disappointed, or may lose faith. But here you can see that no matter how much Krishna was saying, but as a wife, as a Rukmini was so dear, and she loved Krishna so much that she's not at all misunderstanding of it, but understanding it in the right perspective. And this is what is a lesson for us also, that we should never misunderstand but Krishna, but we have to understand. You can see how Krishna is reciprocating, that you are very, very dear to me. Only because when we are dear to Krishna, we are able to be right now in this satsang talking about Krishna. Manushanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatataamapi siddhanam. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, out of 1,000 among people, one person it takes to spirituality. And out of those people who take to spirituality, hardly one person knows Krishna in truth. So you can imagine how rare it is Krishna devotees are. So just even having this association of Krishna's devotees and spending time in Krishna consciousness, this is something which is like a very big boon that we are kind of like having right now. Right now we are going through a boon that Krishna is given, that we are able to even think about him, serve Krishna, and try to even listen about Krishna Katha. It is something which is and also, like, you know, he's talking about, and here you can see that even Krishna's devotees, my dear, they're always free from material contamination. Why? Because when we are living in this material world, the non-devotees who are living in this material world, they are under control by the divine energy. Mama Maya Duratya. Krishna says this divine energy of mine is very, very difficult to overcome, Arjuna. But at the same time, Krishna also says, Mahatmanastu Mam Partha Daivam Prakritam Ashrita. That means Krishna who are serving Krishna, the devotees who are pure devotees of Krishna, who are serving Krishna, who are always engaging Krishna consciousness, they are under the protection of the divine nature. So Krishna is saying here that my devotees, they're always free from material contamination, because they're not involved in this material world, or enjoying the sense enjoyment in this material world. They're always thinking about Krishna in as a center in their life, and they're not the devotees. They do not ask for liberation. Also, their only desires to only serve Krishna, whether it's hell or heaven. The mood of a devotee is, wherever I am, I just want to serve your lotus feet. So this is why Krishna is saying this is. And by this paragraph, Krishna is giving us an idea that this is what he is expecting from his devotees. My devotees never desire anything from me except to be engaged in my service. Samsiddhim haritoshanam, which means doing everything for the satisfaction of Krishna. That is the goal of Krishna's devotees. Samsiddhim Haritoshana. We call it as akarma because when we are doing any karma to satisfy our own senses, that is called as vikarma. But if you are doing anything for the satisfaction of Krishna, that is called as akarma, which is why Krishna is saying, right? Yat karosi yat asnasi yat juhosi dadasiyat yat tapasyasi kaunteya tad kuru somad arpanam. Arjuna, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, whatever charity that you do, whatever anything that you do everything as an offering to me. This is akarma, like doing everything for the pleasure of Krishna. So if you're doing charity, do it for Krishna. If you're eating, offer it to Krishna and eat. That becomes prasadam. If you're buying a house, just keep one small, beautiful, divine space for Krishna. That will become your Devaya line. So like that, Krishna is saying, like, do everything. You can transform it into a offering to Krishna. And this is what Krishna wants. He wants us to enjoy, but do everything as a sacrifice for Krishna and then enjoy. Then it will become completely purified, right? Krishna says, Yajna Sissasena Santo Muchante Sarva Kilbishai Bunjate Agam Papa Ye Pachante Atma Karana. My devotees, Krishna makes it very clear, the devotees of Krishna, they're released from all kind of sin because they're offering food first to Krishna for sacrifice. But the other people who are only enjoying sense enjoyment for doing it for eating for sense enjoyment, they're only eating sin. So Krishna is giving us, the devotees, an idea that when we put Krishna in our lives, when we do everything, offer everything to Krishna, and even the work that we do even for the work, what did he say? For the food, Krishna says, if you offer it to me and eat, then that will become karma-free food. Similarly, when you're working, Krishna says, Yajnartat karmanon yatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Work done should be done as a sacrifice for Vishnu. Om Krishna Arpanam. You start your work before and just say Om Krishna Arpanam. Do everything as a sacrifice for Krishna. And when whatever money that you get, do it something to serve Krishna. In that way, Krishna is saying, doing your work as a sacrifice for Krishna. This is what is the sacrifice that he's talking about. Work done as a sacrifice for Krishna has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, Arjuna, you should perform your prescribed duty for his satisfaction. So it's all about, in the material world, what Krishna is saying is, you only enjoy the food also, you only enjoy, but do everything for his satisfaction, and then you take and enjoy. Then it will become karma-free life. Then that will be the best way to spend your spiritual life. So such ambitions and desires, instead of becoming a cause. So because the devotees of Krishna are doing completely depending on Krishna and doing everything in for the serving Krishna, they do not be a cause of material bondage. There's no material bond. Because if you are doing anything for our own satisfaction, like I said, vikarma, then we will be entangled more and more in our karma. And then we have to take birth again. We have to come back into this material world. But devotees, when they're completely doing everything for the satisfaction of Krishna, like as I said, Samsiddhim Haritoshanam, satisfaction of Krishna, then the same devotees, even though they are enjoying everything but offering to Krishna and enjoying it, they will be the source of liberation from this material world. Like enjoying Krishna Katha, enjoying Mahaprasadam, enjoying the chanting of Krishna, seeing Krishna everywhere when you go into this material world. Like I was telling you, when we go to Krishna's temple, we see the beautiful deity of Krishna. And once you come out of the temple, you take the portable Krishna, which is your bead bag, right? You have the bead bag, you take out, that's your portable Radha Krishna. You take them out and happily, nicely keep chanting on your way. That's a nice way to engage yourself again in Krishna. So in that way, as once we get used to it and it becomes the second nature, then that habit, when it becomes your second nature, that whenever you get a time, apart from your material duties, immediately take out your bead bag and start chanting. That's it. That's it. In that way, you're always thinking of Krishna every minute of your life. So here, nicely, Krishna is reciprocating to her and just telling that Rukmini, whatever you have said in response to whatever I say is absolutely true and it's totally approved by me. And even my devotees are like that. They're not looking at anything. They're not asking for anything in this material world. All they want to do is, they want to do everything as a service for me. And in that way, they get liberated. Can I ask anyone to read the next paragraph? Sweta ji, Hare Krishna. iPhone 38, not sure. Hare Krishna, Meena ji. Himal Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Anyone?
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, would you like to read?
Yes, no problem. My dear chaste and pious wife, I have tested on the basis of strict chastity your love for your husband, and you have passed the examination most successfully. I have purposely agitated you by speaking many words not applicable to your character, but I am surprised to see that not a pinch of your devotion to me has been deviated from its fixed problem. My dear wife, I am the bestower of all benedictions, even up to the standard of liberation from this material world. And it is I only who can stop the continuation of material existence and call one back home, back to Godhead. One whose devotion for me is adulterated worships me for some material benefit just to keep himself in the world of material happiness, culminating in the pleasure of sex life. One who engages himself in severe penances and austerities just to attain this material happiness is certainly under the illusion of my external energy. Persons who are engaged in my devotional service simply for the purpose of material gain and sense gratification are certainly very foolish, for material happiness based on sex life is available in the most abominable species of life, such as hogs and dogs. No one should try to approach me for such happiness, which is available even if one is put into a hellish condition of life. It is better, therefore, for persons who are simply after material happiness and not after me to remain in that hellish condition.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice. But I want to just also just thank Mataji for posting those beautiful darshan pictures today. Lord Krishna was looking so beautiful in manner today that I was just so tempted to just go to manner.
Absolutely.
The colors of the yellow and red colors is so beautiful today, and I was like, I was just waiting for someone to post it, and Mataji has posted. So thank you. Just please convey my thanks to Mataji.
Absolutely. In fact, she is here with me. So
thank you so much, Mataji, for posting those beautiful pictures, and I was like so happy to see. I was just waiting. I was just thinking, whom can I ask to send those pictures? And then I see you posted on the WhatsApp group. So thank you so much for that. That's really so kind of you.
no.
Today,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Today, Radha Gokulananda, the kind of a color combination that they wore was like so beautiful, so beautiful.
It was amazing.
I was just sitting and just doing my kirtan in front of them, and I couldn't just take my eyes off. Thank you.
I'm very glad I can share it, and I go there every day, and I take the opportunity to share it in the group, and I feel really happy doing that.
Absolutely, Mataji. I always say, like, you can never go to a Krishna mandir. It's Krishna who calls us, and that's how we. And if you're going daily, it shows how much Krishna cares and cares about you. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you to Krishna. We are all his instruments.
Absolutely. We are. That's what we have to. We should really rejoice that Krishna has given us this opportunity to serve him and to even have his darshan like that. We are just like so blessed. It's not an ordinary thing. I always do, because many times we go to the temple, we forget the fact that maybe they just think that maybe I just came over there, but we have to understand how rare is this opportunity. Bahunam janmanamante jnanaman prapajyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. Krishna says one who comes to the understanding and the knowledge about Krishna and trying to understand that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Krishna himself says such kind of a devotee is so rare. So it's not an ordinary thing that knowing Krishna and knowing about pastimes of Krishna is something very, very rare. So we have to always be very, very grateful to Krishna for that. And so here we can see that Krishna is kind of like very happy with the responses that Rukmini has given, and as he was trying to test on the basis of chastity. So it's a kind of like a beautiful thing for us also, that there will be some testing times in our bhakti life also, right? There will be definitely a testing times where we will question our faith, we will question how much we are sticking to our faith, how much we are loyal to Krishna, how much we are ready to still serve Krishna in spite of the turbulences and in spite of so many ups and downs. You can see in devotees' life, it's not like a straight line, it's not like I become a Krishna devotee and all my problems have vanished. But my main thing is devotees also have problems like any other material person. But the thing is, their focus is completely Krishna. They're not focusing on the problem. They do understand, because they live with the understanding that this material world is a world of duality. That today you could have today you could have a problem, and tomorrow there could be some good thing happening. Day after tomorrow there could be some other problem. So they know that they have this knowledge that it's a world of duality. So here we can see Krishna nicely, even though he was testing her, that he was happy that she has passed the test. And he said like he's purposely agitated by speaking many words, but he's seen that he has not budged even a pinch of devotion has even been deviated from the fixed position. So she was very fixed, very much fixed in her devotion to Krishna. And this is what we have to learn from Harikatha. We have to learn from the pure devotees that no matter what, no matter whatever ups and downs, no matter whatever tribulations, my love for Krishna should always be there. That should be the highest thing. Krishna, that's why we say, like, Krishna, you stab me. This is the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You stab me, you tramp me, you do anything, but I have no other this thing than goal than the lotus feet of yours. That is my only shelter that I have, is the lotus feet. I do not have any other shelter except for you. You can tramp me, you can just do me, you can glorify me, you can do everything. But for me, I only have you in your lotus feet. That's the only thing that I have. So Krishna gets very pleased with such kind of a devotion. And we've seen that earlier, right? We've seen how, in the earlier times when the gopis were showing so much of love for Krishna, Krishna said, like, I do not know how to repay the love that you're showing. He told the gopis, like, similarly, we have to understand from this particular Leela also that sometimes there could be some testing times that Krishna gives us, but when we are very firm in our devotion towards Krishna, Krishna becomes very pleased. As you can see over here, he's so pleased with that. And Krishna is making it very clear, my dear wife, I'm the bestower of all benediction. We know that everything is bestowed by Krishna himself, right? He is the only one. We can see, if you remember earlier in Krishna Katha, Muchukonda, he was actually approached by Kartikeya, right? Kartikeya is the chief of the demigods. And what does Kartikeya says? Kartikeya says, Muchukonda, I can give you all kind of material desires. Whatever material desires you have, I can fulfill them. But don't ask me for liberation. That only Krishna can give. So, but the devotees are so beautiful that devotees are not even wanting liberation also from this material world. They only want to just serve Krishna in some way or the other. And here Krishna is confirming that, yeah, I'm the one who can give the liberation in this material world. And he's the only one who can stop us from going through this cycle of life and death. We are constantly juggling through this cycle of life and birth for millions of years. We've been going through this. But only Krishna can stop this, which is why he's saying, like I said, Janma Karma Cha Medhi, just listening to Harikatha. This is one of the way in which we want to stop. And that's why Krishna assembles all his devotees together in the satsangs, so that we can all listen to the Harikatha and we can all go back to, like as he said, and call one back to God. And so Krishna himself, through the Bhagavad Gita is nothing but a Krishna giving us a personal letter saying, my child, as long as you're living in this material world, please navigate your life in this way and finally follow my instructions and come back to me. Krishna, out of 575 slokas are there in Bhagavad Gita, there are at least 200 slokas are there where Krishna is constantly telling us, do this and come back to me. Do this and come back to me. Like I said, yat karosi yad asnasi yad juhosi dadasi yat. You do everything as an offering for me, and at the end you will be liberated and you will come back to me. Shubha Shubha Palarema Moksasi Karma Bandhana Sanyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimuktamam Upaishyasi. Krishna says, when you do everything as an offering to me, you will be liberated and you will come to me. So this is the Krishna's formula, like he's giving us, that we can always come back to Krishna. So one whose devotion for me is adulterated, worship me only for me. So here also Krishna is also one. There are two things he's saying. One, he's saying that the pure devotees, though are not contaminated with this, with this material existence, they at the end of their life, they will go back to Krishna. But for people who are just worshipping Krishna for material benefit, or if we're just talking about, the pleasures of sex life and things like that, they are under the control of Mahamaya, of Krishna. And they are, even though, like, you see some of the yogis, they will be worshipping Krishna for mystical powers and things like that. So Krishna is saying, like, people who are approaching Krishna for all this material kind of happiness or kind of like, sex life and things like that, they're only living, it's like, they will continue to remain only in a hellish condition. What if Krishna gives you more material benefits? It will give you more and more, it will entangle you into your material, more and more into material life. And Krishna doesn't want us to get entangled in this material world. That's the reason why they say, like, we can ask some of the demigods and they'll give you whatever you like. But for Krishna, he doesn't give you so easily because he doesn't want us to get entangled in the material world. A lot of people misunderstand Krishna that, oh, if you pray to Krishna, he will take away everything. But actually what he's trying to do is he wants to take away all the distractions in your life so that you will completely engage in pure devotional service with Krishna. And towards the end of your life, you will go back to Krishna. That is what he wants. He wants all of us to come back home. And that's the reason why he doesn't want us to get entangled in the material world. And which is why he's saying that any people who are engaged in penances and austerities only to gain material happiness, they're under the control of Maya or the material energy. But so this is the message that Krishna is giving. So very beautiful, because there's so many beautiful takeaways, isn't it? How Krishna is, we can make out from this that how Krishna is appreciates the pure devotional service that Rukmini has, how much the pure love that she has for Krishna. So much to to learn from this Harikatha about pure love, and how much that how we should be rock solid in our love for Krishna and not get carried away by the disturbances of ups and downs in our life, but being completely steadfast. Mam choyo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So Krishna says, one who has complete pure devotional service for Krishna, unfailing in all circumstances. Unfailing in all circumstances, he can rise over the three gunas. So Krishna is giving us, making us clear how we can rise above the three gunas. Mamcho vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. One who's engaging in bhakti towards Krishna, unfailing in all circumstances, not bothering whether it's a good day or today it's a bad day, but irrespective of whether it's a good day or bad day, our only focus is to how to engage in serving Krishna by always chanting his holy name. So I want to just stop over here, because we have covered till here, and then we will continue with the next paragraph. I just want to ask for any kind of responses, any reaction, any other things like corrections, your realizations, anything that you would like to add. Ashwin Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Sweta ji, Swarup Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining us.
Biggest
Sorry.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'm just going to take a minute to stop the...
Prabhu, you said that any turbulences that comes in your life, if you are with Krishna, the way we deal with this is going to, change, right? And so that's how Pandavas were able to go through the trauma, and then still, they were living the dharmic life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The Pandavas are a great example. And I think that's the nature of the material world, and they never gave up on Krishna. The Pandavas went through so many hurdles. Their house, they would try to burn down the house, they tried to kill them, they tried to insult Draupadi. They did in so many ways. They wanted to, put an end to the Pandavas, and they were not ready to, so unfairly, they were denied the kingdom. Similarly, in Ramayana, we see like how Lord Ram, even though he was supposed to be coronated the very next day, how he was denied the kingdom to be the king. And we've seen like in spite of that, he accepted. I think, and so that's what Krishna is telling, like, in this material world of duality, one first thing you have to learn is learn to accept that this is the nature of the material world, and try to do whatever best in your given situation. Matras versus tu kaunteya, shitos na sukudukkada. Just like the summer and winter season, these problems, they keep coming and going, but you should never give up on your Sanatana Dharma, because we all have two dharmas, Swadharma and Sanatana Dharma. So Swadharma, when we are doing our Swadharma, our natural duties, there are going to be some challenges and all these things, but never give up on Sanatana Dharma. So that's what Krishna is trying to, the whole message from here is, your Sanatana Dharma means you are eternal, Krishna is eternal, we are all Sanatana, the Jivatma is called as Sanatana, Krishna is called as Sanatana, the place from where we came, Krishna Loka is called as Sanatana, and this eternal religion is called as Sanatana Dharma. So that Krishna is the whole thing from Krishna consciousness, what we can understand is, we have to execute Swadharma to the best of our ability, but at the same time, we should never forget our Sanatana Dharma. That means always chanting the holy name of Krishna and always thinking of Krishna, keeping Krishna in the center of our lives. But nice point, Nagarat Prabhu, about the Pandavas. Perfect.
Thank you.
Any other points?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So beautiful, Prabhuji. Very nice. The nectarian that you are sharing and quoting all these Bhagavad Gita shlokas and adding. It is so beautiful, Prabhuji. Just wanted to share one more point. Just similarly, Dhruv Maharaj, in his prayers, he mentions that नूनं विमुष्टमतयः तव मायया ते ये त्वां भवाप्य विमोक्षण मन्ये हेतोः अच्छन्ति कल्पकतरकं कुणकोपभोग्यं यत्पर्यं निर्येपि यत्पर्यं निर्येपि नृणाम्. That is, people you worship only for the sake of Ichanti yat sparjam niryepi ndunam. Sparjam is kind of a sexual gratification. Dhruv Maharaj, when he was 5 years old, so he was glorifying the Lord. But people, that even though Lord is delivering bhavapriya, vimokshana manye hetoho, the Lord is able to deliver everyone. But, oh my dear Lord, so here, Lord is in front of Dhruv Maharaj. So Dhruv Maharaj is glorifying the Lord. People are, they are very, very less minded, little minded. So they ask only for small sense gratificatory things. So there he says, Pindunam, that is, it is a hellish condition. As you are reading the paragraph, it is the hellish, whatever the material things, it is hellish things. And he mentions Bhaktim Muhu Pravatam Twaime Prasango Bhuyadananta Mahatam Anand Mahadasayanam. Mahadasayanam. It is the devotees who are always engaged in the devotional service. Bhakti Muhu Pravatam Bhavat. This is we speak about the Lord. And Yenanjana Ulbasan Yena Anjana Ulbhanam Urubhyasanam Bhavabdhim. It is so much of difficult material world. It is Anjasai. Very easily they will cross this material science. Niyase Bhavat Gunakata Amrita Panamartaha. Hearing the Krishna Katha, like when you are speaking the Krishna Katha, Kathamrita Panamartaha. We are intoxicated to hear this Krishna Katha. In such a way, the life will be easily crossed over all the material science until the end. So, just wanted to share this when I'm reflecting when you're reading Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. You always add nectar to our conversation. So it's always, thank you so much for sharing that, Prabhuji. We always look up to you especially from Bhagavatam. There's so many beautiful stories, so many real morals which we can take it to our heart. And because many times, as I think these things are so important, because as you're practicing Krishna consciousness, from time to time, we have to just do some reading of Harikatha and all that in order to just keep our faith going on, because sometimes there could be some challenges to our faith, or questions. People keep planting questions in this material world, but as long as devotees are very strong in our own, in the association of in the satsangs and trying to get this knowledge, we will be more firm in our faith, because our faith is not blind faith, but faith is based on the beautiful knowledge that we get from our scriptures. So it's very important that we understand some of these beautiful things, and we can see directly how Krishna himself is mentioning that he loves the true pure love of his devotees. Thank you, Prabhuji.
It's all mercy of Saurabh, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. I always tell him, and he's like so humble. He says, no, you I tell him like, oh, it's because of you we are in the satsang. Sorry, Prabhu, you won't like to add anything?
No, Prabhu, it was very nice. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Sorry, Prabhu. Sorry, Prabhu and myself, we did a nice kirtan last week.
It was my good fortune, Prabhu, to get your association.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
Same way, likewise, Prabhuji. We are all there. Thank you.
Haribol.
Haribol. Sorry, Prabhu, anything like to? Hemal Prabhu.
Profound as always. I've been missing the workshop for the last 4 weeks today I felt that I have missed the world. So I wanted to ensure that, come what may, material world always comes in between all of these things, but we need to justify what needs to be prioritized in life.
Yes, yes, yes. Very important. It's very nice that you mentioned it because Keshu Maharaj was given a class this week, and he put a chart which said like urgent, which is not urgent, which is important, which is not important. So if you put a chart for us, like we ourselves, I think sometimes we miss out on some other things in life, but that was very interesting that he actually put up a chart. He's saying like, maybe this is how we should just look at, we should revisit and see like, what's more important and things like that. And he given some nice examples and all this. So it's very interesting. But I don't take it lightly because every one of us are juggling so many different things in our life, and just taking some time for Krishna Katha is something really, really very humbly, thankful for each one of our devotees for taking the time.
Was that class recorded?
Yes, Prabhuji, it's all recorded. This class is recorded. Yeah.
The Keshav Maharaj class?
Oh, yeah, that's there. Yeah, it's there. I can send you the link, Prabhu. Shall I put it on the channel, Prabhu?
Yes, please. Thank you.
I'll put it. You can just check it out. It's really nice, actually. I found it very informative, It's sometimes we go with the flow, but sometimes it's just nice to pause and just think, what? Yeah, that's true. Maybe I should just put a chart and see,
Correct. He has a very different way of inscribing things into life, into reality. So that's why it'll be nice to read what he was saying. Thank you.
I'll put it, Prabhu. You can just have a look at that. I'll put it on the channel. Gayatri ji, anything would like to add? We're just going to closing down. Ashwin Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, can I quickly ask one thing, please?
Yes, Vita ji, please.
How can we work for Krishna?
How can we
work, job?
The job. Okay. So the thing is like, we are all living in this material world. Of course, like they're devotees who are dedicatedly working in the temple and things like that. But even, let's say, even while we are working, doing our material work, we can think of Krishna before we start our work, and in the mode of consciousness. Let's see, like just like a mother or a father who's working, he knows that he's working. What's the purpose? That he knows that he has to feed his family. He knows that he has to take care of his children. He has to because so if you really think about it, he's just being conscious about his family conscious. He's just being conscious about his family. Similarly, a devotee of Krishna, when he's working, it's not that he's doing Krishna's work out there, but he's thinking about how he can spend his life in serving Krishna by doing this job, because by doing this job, it's going to give me money. But how do I engage that money in practicing Krishna consciousness? So just thinking about Krishna, okay, this whatever Krishna has given me this job, but how am I engaging the money in serving Krishna? Like, going to the temple and doing some services, going and attending some classes, or thinking in different ways how we can just use this money, or buying some book, helping some devotees. And so it's maybe that work is not directly to Krishna, but you can use that money of Krishna, that money that you're getting by Krishna's grace, in the service of Krishna.
Even donating?
For example, I will tell you, like when I was working in central London, I used to make sure early in the morning, before going to work, just do my chanting on the way, do a few rounds of chanting. While you're working, in the middle of the time, whenever you get a little bit of time, just read something about Krishna. End of the day, I was very fortunate. Soho Temple was just next street, next station. So again, I used to walk. Instead of taking a train, I used to walk so that I can chant another 4 rounds and go there, spend some time, and then again spend some money in the Govinda, so that we're contributing to Krishna in that way. Just buy something from there, or just buy some books, or do something like that, spend some time out there. But basically using that money in thinking about how can I serve Krishna, how can I spend time more with Krishna, using that money. So because we are all taking the money, what are we doing with the money that we earn? We are spending for so many things. We go shopping, we go and do this. So we're basically thinking about how we can buy another building, or we can buy another thing. So it's all about, if you see about even Bhagavad Gita, right? What did Arjuna give? Krishna give Arjuna? He didn't give anything. He didn't give him weapons. He didn't give him anything. He just changed his consciousness. He was ego conscious. He changed it to Krishna conscious. So so in addition to the being family conscious, we just add Krishna also along with that, just also being adding Krishna to your life. So not just being conscious about that I'm taking care of my family, but also being conscious about how can I spend this money for Krishna, or how can I just, how can I spend my time in serving Krishna? Because like we have to serve, we have to do earn for our living, right? But with the living, what are we doing? What are the materialist people are doing? They go for shopping, they earn money, they go for movies, they go for that. But a devotee is thinking like, how can I use this money in service of Krishna? Can I do some charity? Can I just, help some devotees in some way? Can I just do something else for Krishna? In so many different ways we can thinking. Basically, the point is, I want this money so that I can survive and serve Krishna.
Yeah.
Along
Yeah,
with
makes sense.
along with serving my family. But I can also because of course, like I can't be like, say like, oh, well, Krishna is only important, my family is not. No, Krishna knows that you have to take care of your family. He never said leave your swadharma. In whole Bhagavad Gita is telling like you do your prescribed duties.
Yeah.
Tasmat
Thank you.
sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yujasa. He's saying do your work, whatever you're doing. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu, which means you do whatever you're doing. You serve your family, you do whatever. At the same time, think of me that I'm always there for you, and think of always serving me in some way. So it's just a change in the consciousness where you're adding Krishna also to everything. Just you like add you sugar to everything that you have. You're adding Krishna in everything in your life. So slowly, as you keep changing your consciousness, then you'll find that I'm spending more time for Krishna. I'm using my money more for the service of Krishna. I'm helping some devotees more in, serving Krishna. So you're basically using your money, because you have to go to the temple also, I need petrol. So for that also, you need money, right? So you need money for all the things. Like if you really think about it, if I had to attend some program, I had to spend money. I had to pay for a Krishna conscious, even if it's a Krishna conscious one, there could be some paid ones as well. Or they could be, you could help somebody in, I was distributing some Bhagavad Gita over the week, and, to someone, they said like, wanted to learn. I said like, immediately I took a Bhagavad Gita. Where did I get the Bhagavad Gita? Because I sponsored some books for the Gita Yajna, So I'm just giving you an example like that. So as long as we keep thinking like, how can I use this money to serving Krishna? You'll find many ways where your money is going. So
Yeah. Thank you so much.
yeah, sure, Sutaji. Happy to
Simple.
share.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. The simple thing is engage the ears in hearing Bhagavatam and chanting, engage the tongue. Sevonmukhi jihvado, starting from the tongue, chanting Hare Krishna 16 rounds every day early morning. Wake up early in the morning and do the japa. Join the same Zoom link and join us at 5:30 a.m. for japa. That is the service to the Lord, engaging the senses in serving the Lord. Krishikesha Sevanam Bhaktiruchyate. Engage the senses in the service of the Lord. It doesn't cost any money at all. Just engage, hear and chant.
Absolutely. A
Yes.
devotee is
Yes.
doing a job basically so that he can have money to just serve Krishna, nicely, because we have to, end of the day, we need to be comfortable in our own, to serving Krishna. So as Prabhuji rightly mentioned, in fact, the Hare Krishna, many people do not know that what's the meaning of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra is a prayer to Radha and Krishna to say, kindly please engage us in your devotional service. But so we are doing everything that we can to earn money, do whatever it is, so that we can have enough sufficient so that we can serve Krishna in many ways. So whether we're chanting, whether we're serving Krishna, the best thing is like chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If we are able to do that, that's the best service we can offer Krishna.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I think it's so wonderful to have every one of you on this thing. And then next Thursday, we'll spend maybe a bit talk about Ramayana as well. And Amaga Prabhu will look for your inputs as well, just to get into the mood of Ram Navami, which is happening on the 6th of April. And I think maybe they may require tickets, maybe free tickets, but I think the tickets are required on that day if you're coming to Manna. But yeah, maybe I think on the 30th of March, they'll start releasing the tickets, I believe. But yeah, maybe I was thinking maybe we should just talk about that next Thursday. So it'll be really nice to get into the mood before Ram Navami. And yeah, maybe I can just share a bit from my end as well. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Saurav Prabhuji would like to add something.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Saurav Prabhuji.
Oh yeah, Saurav Prabhu would like to add. Saurav Prabhu. You're on mute. Yeah. Yes, sir, Prabhu. Maybe some audio issue or something. Because I see the mute is off, but
You have to guess what he's saying.
yeah. So,
Hare Krishna.
yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sorry, Prabhu. Now we can hear you.
Yes, no, I have nothing to add, Prabhu. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, so thank you very much. Vanshkarpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyo vacha patitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
Vaishnava.
Ananta ki jai.
Srila
Srila
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.